You too. Okay, so welcome back, Satish. I've never encountered so many repeated words in one session, totally unanticipated. I'm sorry for that. But now we are with clear audio, and it's a great opportunity, I think, for you, if you don't mind, just to talk about Schumacher College. And then, of course, as I said before, what your plans are for the near future. Because I understand, as you say, it's the 30th anniversary in 2021. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. The Schumacher College, as you said, was established in 1991. The reason was that our educational system, universities, schools, colleges, they are very human-centered. Their purpose is to educate human beings for jobs, for success, for their personal life. They don't take into account the human-nature relationship and human spirituality. So Schumacher College is established to bring human nature and spirit together. What I call relationship with environment or nature, natural world, relationship with yourself, relationship with human society. So this is a holistic education. When you go to university, the lecturers or professors or teachers look at the student and they think that students have no body. They have only brain, only head. And they educate the head, analytical, intellectual, academic, scientific, rational, all this information, history, geography, whatever. At Schumacher College, we say that a student is a whole person, whole body. Student has head to think, but also heart to feel, and hands to make, and legs to walk. Why not use the whole body? Education of head, education of heart, and education of hands should be there. So we design our curriculum and our syllabus and our program in such a way that you are using your whole body and learning through all your senses, through your eyes, through your ears, through your taste, through your body. And so our students are learning not only in their classroom, but also cooking together, gardening together, going for walking together in nature. Humans are our teachers, but nature is also our teacher. Nature is our mentor. So we go walking in nature every day. And especially once a week, we go to special places like Dartmoor, some wild places, or along the river, or by the sea. And so this way, we learn from nature. And after you have finished your study at Schumacher College, you are not just looking for a job for yourself, but you are looking for work, real good work, which is in the service of humanity and the service of the planet Earth, protection of nature, and developing the human spirit and the human consciousness and the compassion. And while you are serving the humanity and caring for the planet Earth, you are also having right livelihood so that your livelihood is not impacting negatively on other human beings or on planet Earth, natural world. So this is a kind of general overview of Schumacher College. And we provide 3 different kinds of courses. One is short courses. So students can come for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks for short course. Then we provide a course for 6 months. That's particularly the gardening course. So you can learn about how to grow food organically, in an agroecological way, in a regenerative way. So regenerative agriculture, agroecology, permaculture, organic gardening. So students come in April and they stay until September. And they learn about growing food holistically, but also growing food together as a community. And then we have a third program, which is a more year-long program, and that's what we call master's program. So you can get holistic science, a master's degree in holistic science, a master's degree in ecological design thinking. So ecological design is very important at Schumacher College. And the third degree is engaged ecology. And that engaged ecology is how we interact with nature. And then also we have a degree in regenerative economics. So this way, 3 or 4 programs we have where students stay there for 1 year and they get master's program or master's degree. So this way we have a very varied program. And so every person can benefit in whatever they like, way they like, practical, short course, long course. And next year, we are going to celebrate our 30th anniversary. And Schumacher College is based in Dartington, in South Devon, near the town of Totnes. So it's a very beautiful place. The River Dart is just about 10 minutes walk from our college. So we all the time go to the river, and then Dartmoor is not very far. So it's a very, very natural and beautiful place, Schumacher College.
This is great to hear, because I'm definitely interested in doing one of your courses at some point. And as we said before, it'd be really brilliant if we can actually set up some of the courses that I'm thinking about, which I think, once I've been down to see you, we'll talk more about that. One thing I'd like to mention is, and I don't know how much you're familiar with it, is this concept, because years ago I did a feature on something, actually because it was born out of this great challenge that we had in the UK called BSE, which is colloquially called mad cow disease. Now, I remember Rudolf Steiner, who I'm sure you must be familiar with as well, from the 1930s. I'd come across him, I think, then at that time for the first time. And I think this is going back to the 1990s when I was doing this feature. And he said that, well, you can't feed bits of entrails and other animal parts to animals, because then you're going to have these problems. And it then started looking into this whole thing. I came across this thing called biodynamic farming. And I didn't know whether it was quite true. It seemed very high figure, but apparently 60% of farms on the European continent were biodynamically run. And of course, what they do in principle, they go by the moon cycles. They bring back all the birds and the bees magically to the landscape, the environment. They use cow's horns to create fertilizer, because this is to do with the energies, if you like, the cosmic energies, which the horn is able to somehow influence the substance within the horn in a very dynamic way. Hence, maybe that's why it's called biodynamic farming. And I just wondered how much you knew about that, and how much you might actually acknowledge or incorporate that in the Schumacher College's work.
Yes, so I am familiar with dynamic agriculture, and I am a great admirer and follower of Rudolf Steiner's thinking in every field: agriculture, education, architecture, in many, many fields. Rudolf Steiner was the great prophet of our time, and he had a very holistic spiritual vision for humanity and for the planet Earth. And so we very much include biodynamic farming and biodynamic method of agriculture in our learning at Schumacher College. And we have nearby a biodynamic farm, which is a very wonderful farm near Schumacher College. And our students regularly go there and practice Rudolf Steiner's way of farming.
That's wonderful. How long has that been in existence, that aspect, that biodynamic aspect?
I would say for the last about 10 years.
Mm. And do you see a noticeable difference? I mean, so you have a biodynamic section or farm or part of the farm, and then you have other parts that are not biodynamic. How does it work?
No, the biodynamic farm, which is nearby, uh, um, and the person who runs it is one of our teacher. And so that whole farm is full-time biodynamic, only biodynamic, and that is one of the source of our learning, and our students learn there. And then there's another garden, which is about 7 acres or something, but this biodynamic farm is much bigger, part of Dartington land, but run an independent project. And that is a wonderful project, and the person who runs it is our teacher at Schumacher College. And so our students go there to learn and practice and experience. And then in the garden, which is at Schumacher College garden itself, and that is more permaculture and agroecology and organic gardening, all that. So these two things parallel. So our students can learn many methods, and then they can choose which method suits them in a particular way. So some students decide to follow the biodynamic method of agriculture in the rest of their life, and they go away with that. Then other students take more agroecology method or permaculture method. So we are, as a learning center, we are offering all these kind of alternatives, you can say. We are not saying there's only one way which is the right way and everybody must follow only one way, because we are a college, so we want to offer our students all holistic and a kind of organic and non-damaging method of food growing. But biodynamic farming is very important and very highly regarded.
And I think this all sounds wonderful. And I'm looking forward to finding out or seeing it for myself, what you're doing down there. I think what you said before was about growing together and eating together is wonderful. I remember years ago, I used to, I was in my 20s, I came across probably, this was in Leeds, I was visiting a friend at a place called Mary Morris International Student Residence. What I loved about that place was that this place was obviously for international students, and it was divided into units, and each unit had a kitchen. And so you would come across this amazing array of different cultures and people, great learning environment where, you know, the world came to me in those days before I started to travel. And it was just a great learning opportunity. And so I realized the absolute joy of not just meeting people, but learning the culture and, you know, being thrown into that culture through the food. And you learn so much more, and you learn to appreciate things that you hadn't before. And so I think this great thing about, I mean, also I was in part of the School of Philosophy, which you probably know, and we were doing the same there. We would make our own bread and sit around together, and we didn't really have any cooked food. The only warmed food would have maybe some soup sometimes, but actually it was mainly the bread, cooked bread, and it was wonderful. And so I really enjoyed that time. So I think it's of great value. One thing I'd like to touch on again is this whole thing about appreciation. And I think, you know, Schumacher College is obviously partly born of this whole idea, I imagine, tell me if I'm wrong, of small is beautiful. And it's about the appreciation of what's around us, nature, the environment. And I do have at my house here every year a thing called Open Hearth, which is an art exhibition of myself and other people's work in both the house and the garden. And of course, the garden is my favorite room. And I built a pergola which takes the artwork and so on. So it is really blending in a wonderful way art with nature. And of course, you then start to appreciate that in nature, there is art. And the fact that another sort of aspect of this is that we have largely forgotten that we are part of nature. And if we then start to appreciate this, we then have a totally different relationship to life. We look after ourselves more because we're appreciating nature. We realize that if you're, whether you're a child looking after a little, as I did when I first started growing things, little pansies in a rockery, I still have this wonderful memory of that first experience of growing and caring for something. And it was truly inspirational. And I'm barely doing more than that now, but I'm doing a little bit of food, which is wonderful because I've had my first onions earlier on this autumn, and they really are amazing. And
That is wonderful to hear. That is wonderful to hear what you are saying. And in parallel to Schumacher College, even before that, Schumacher, E.F. Schumacher, who wrote Small is Beautiful, that has been my inspiration, because Schumacher was my friend. I knew him very well. And so he was the associate editor of Resurgence magazine, and it was him who invited me to become the editor of Resurgence. So Resurgence magazine, and now Resurgence and Ecologist magazine, together, we are promoting these sort of ecological, spiritual, and holistic values through the magazine. And magazine has been going for the last 55 years. Schumacher was one of the mentor and founder of the magazine. And so I was editor for Resurgence and Ecologist magazine for 43 years. And so Resurgence and Schumacher College work in tandem, in collaboration together. And so, and at this moment, the ecological movement is growing, and many, many more people are becoming aware, particularly in this COVID crisis. We are realizing that we have been disconnected from nature, and that has been one of the reasons that we are facing this crisis. And so we need to learn to live in harmony with nature. And Rudolf Steiner and E.F. Schumacher, both, by the way, coming from German background, and have that kind of appreciation and understanding, and that gives us great inspiration. Unfortunately, Paul, I have to soon go.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's a wonderful.
Thank you very much indeed for. I mean, we could have gone on. I mean, we will have another conversation, I'm sure, which we'll record as well. But thank you so much, Satish. Sorry for the problems we had in the previous session, but I'm really grateful for your presence, and I'll say a few words later on in the day with a few more people. But thank you so much, and I love your tunic.
It's my pleasure.
I love your
and
tunic.
You are doing wonderful
Japanese.
work.
Are you wearing a Japanese tunic?
Yes.
You're wearing a Japanese tunic, it looks to me.
It is Chinese, actually.
Oh, it's Chinese. I should know that because I used to live in China. I love those outfits. It suits you very well.
It was given to me by in a monastery, a monastic in Beijing, in a Buddhist monastery.
Yes. How wonderful.
Yeah.
And if we can promote great design, like the ancients knew how to do, even better. So thank you very much, Satish. And
pleasure.
We'll be in touch very soon. And have a lovely winter solstice and a fantastic new year, being your 30th year.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you. Same to you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Satish. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.